French say, oh, no, this doesn't work, or this is not good enough, or you can't do this. In France, it's the art of debate. It's actually showing you respect to debate with you because you're worth it. French culture is impregnated with philosophy and art.
Welcome to Jojo's Cross Border. Today, the guest is the former Marketing and Innovation Director at Laure. Her name is Laure de Saint-Tian. Welcome. Thank you so much, my best friends. Come to visit me and talk about business culture among French and British and Chinese. So Laure, can you introduce yourself first?
Yes, hello Jojo. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very excited about talking about multicultures.
Yes.
So my background is, I'm French and British. And
French is more than British part, right?
Yeah, yes. So French is born and bred, and British is educated for work. So I've been working 20 years in Britain now. And my career has been starting at L'Oréal. You start one day and you leave 16, 17 years later.
Wow.
And now I'm a business coach. And I'm coaching leaders to drive impact into their company.
Yes, yeah, okay. So you used to work for L'Oréal for 16 years and working with the different brands, right? Like a beauty brands. And can you tell us the brand that you're working for?
Yes.
And see if any brands we can recognize.
Well, I've started with the umbrella brand of L'Oréal Paris.
Yes, yeah.
So very Parisian culture.
It's called 欧莱雅 in Chinese.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
you recognize the sounds, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I've been working across the dermatological area, like the Vichy, La Roche-Posay, SkinCeuticals, CeraVe brands. I moved into the Body Shop. At the time, it was part of L'Oréal.
Yes, the Body Shop.
As the Innovation Skincare Director, working a lot with Asia as a big skincare market.
Yeah.
And then I moved back on brands like Shuemura.
Yeah, that's Japanese brand.
Yeah. Carita, Decleor.
Lots of brands.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you're part of it. The main job is like the marketing and the innovation.
Yes, correct. Branding and innovation, yes.
Branding and innovation.
Yes.
Okay. So what was your job like mainly focused in terms of branding? Because we talk about you have quite a lot of products. You're traveling a lot to Asia. Tell us more about that working experience.
Yes.
And then we want to know that's your discovery, how you can see the marketing plan difference between the East and West.
It's so interesting. So that was more on the innovation part. I had to travel a lot for skincare innovation. As I mentioned, Asia is a huge market.
Yes.
Because of different style and reason of consumption of skincare.
Yeah.
In Asia. And Asia is a very varied zone. You know, I'm not going to tell you, but there's many cultures between the big name of Asia.
Yes.
As much as there's a lot of culture behind West. You know, in skincare, what you look at are the different functional benefits that you're looking for, which are different for different skin type, because of genetics, because of lifestyle and context and cultures.
Yeah.
And then also emotional benefits, which equally are very much driven by the culture.
Oh, really? So the emotional benefits on skincare, you mean?
Yeah. So, for example, fragrance in a skincare cream.
Yeah.
Like the different type of fragrance you would choose for an Asian market are very different to a Western market.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of functional benefits, of course, the textures, for example, when you develop skincare, are very important. And when in Asia you have a 7-step, 8-step routine, compared to Western world where you had a 3-step.
3 steps.
That's very different because you've got one market that layers up and another market that just splash it on. So you have to adapt. Also, you adapt to the skin needs, you know, different skin needs. And also to what I've discovered is actually traveling. All of that was theory, easily understood from your seat, in London or Paris.
Yeah.
But when I traveled there, then I understood also the weather and the climate was really, I could understand that you needed light texture, not only because of the 7-step routine, but because it's really sticky and humid. And so you really, but by going on visiting local and living with local people, then you understand better the quality of the water, the weather, the pollution that is different. So you better understand what is needed.
Yeah. What about the customer mind? So like from culture perspective, what's your discovery between Asian and the Westerner?
I would say it's a question of hierarchy in terms of the things that matters. Most things matters the same, but in different ways, in different hierarchy. So I'd say in Asia, and it might have evolved in a time because it's been a long time I haven't been to Asia for consumer testing. But at the time I was, the brand was the first thing in terms of trust, legitimacy, quality. So, and also status, like you would buy a brand and you would show the brand you buy. So that would be at the time, at least, I don't know if it's changed, but that would be something really important. The status of the brand is important. And then number two would be the efficacy, the quality of the product, the efficacy would be very important. In the Western world, it would be more, I'd say, first the efficacy.
And then brand.
Then the sensoriality. And then maybe the brand.
Okay.
I would take it this way,
What is the second one?
Sensoriality, like the texture, the pleasure you get from the product.
Yeah.
So, which means a lot of testing, like a part of your budget is very much spent on samples and testers.
Yeah, so that means like when you are marketing director, you must allocate a lot of a budget in China, like to do the big promotions, L'Oreal, right?
Yeah, and what had changed at the time was to get local to talk about your brand, local ambassadors, so especially with social media, to have influencers from Asia, who would recommend your product in their own way for their own, what they see as the benefits. So the partnership would be really key.
Okay, we assuming it's a common knowledge about the tone, the skin tones. Like there's a huge culture difference. Can we talk about that? Like
the tone.
The tone, I don't know everybody know that, but it's good to point it out. So if somebody's saying that, oh, you're really tan, Jojo.
Oh, yes.
And then what I would like is because I live in the UK for so long, and I don't mind to get tans and freckles, right? So can you tell us
Yes,
this
of
part?
course. I mean, there was a specific market that wasn't existing actually at the time in Europe. Now it's existing, which means that you can see the influence of the East on the West. But at the time I was there was always a sort of like brightening market that was specific to Asia. With only product made only for Asia. Because obviously like the clarity, the radiance, the inner radiance is very important. When actually in the West at the time, like having a tan was really good, but it came in a different way actually for Asian people, where I think the aura is very important for the type of person you are, like to show your purity, your maybe social class, or
that's the later things is the more important. It shows your social class. Do you know why?
I might be wrong, so you tell me. My understanding was like it was coming from the comparison with people working in the land, being exposed to sun and having their skin tanned quite easily. But maybe I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. You've done your homework well.
Good. Now I've been listening carefully to what I was.
That's one aspect. The other aspect, we believe the sun explosion is accelerating the aging process.
But you're 100% right. It's not a belief, it's science. It's science, but it took a long time for us in the East to consider that as something real. Now in the West, people are wearing sunscreen all year round, etc. And now it's a given.
Okay, so that's very interesting, and then that give you a lot of exposure to understand the culture differences, and then you've done your homework well. You understand the story behind this. Okay, so move forward. So we talk about because you're French, British, and I am a Chinese, but living in the UK. So in the Olympic Games, you had a fabulous grand opening. So there's a word like Chinese people, when we talk about French, we're having a specific phrase describing the French people. We call it 松弛感. Yes, it means like the French relaxation attitude. Yeah, for their lifestyle, like buying the bread, the baguette, put it on the arm, and the walking, and then chilled work-life balance well, and also very artistic, right? So you can see like from the you have successfully shows our the creative part of the French. But my question is, what's the French style in business? Are you guys really relaxed attitudes?
I think relax is an interpretation that doesn't see the whole thing. French culture is impregnated with philosophy and art. And so it's not so much about the do and the hardcore stuff. It's a country that is very much built on ideas. And it could be seen as relaxed, you know, like the poets, the thinkers. It's a little bit up in the air. It's the art de vivre, you know, but actually it's not. Actually, there's a lot of excellence demanded on the idea of thinking and ideas. You know, we're the country of Descartes. I think, so I am. So it's sometimes a country that is not so much in the doing, but it's a country that is in the thinking and the idea of beauty. So on a tennis court, for example, that explains a lot.
We both play tennis, by the way.
Because on the tennis court, we're obsessed about the idea of elevation, of beauty, not necessarily of winning. It's no mystery why we don't have a Roland Garros champion since 1983. Or 82 or 83, I have a doubt now. I think it's 83, yes, where Yannick Noah won, you know.
Yeah.
But because we're very much focused on the idea of aesthetic and beauty of the thought or the art. So it's not necessarily relaxed, because actually it's a lot of work to get this done, you know. But it's true, it gives an idea of relax. So in the beauty world, for example, the French beauty is known as like the effortless beauty. It's not true. It's there's an art of not showing the effort, or, you know, a philosophy of life. So it's very different. So I hope it helps.
Understand.
It gives
well, I mean, I understand completely. Yeah, I mean, so it looks like an effortless, but there's a systematically philosophies and the work and the creativities. So present it in the way that you are effortless attitudes, like to make things happen.
And actually, so you asked me in the company how it works. Actually, that actually I don't think it comes effortlessly in the company, because that sense of cultivating debate and thinking and challenging, you know, because there's that quest of excellence always in the French culture. There's always a sense of looking for the exquisite essence of things. And so in a company like L'Oréal, who's like French at heart, it's been directed by a Welshman for many years, but then French people, and it's been created by French people. It's very French at the heart. That sense of debating, of criticizing, to challenge, to always perfect, always go towards perfection, is relentless. So sometimes it's absolutely not the relaxed, effortless thing you would think about, because there's a constant quest of doing better, always, which could be exhausting for some people, you know.
But that's the thing, make it happen.
Yes.
Making it to the perfect.
Yes.
Right.
And also the idea that actually things happen with ideas and concept at L'Oréal. It's a conceptual, like innovation starts with a very strong concept. And you can argue and get challenged on your concept for years, not years, but days, weeks, months until it's good. It's seen as being very competitive and very appealing. And at L'Oréal, for example, there was a very famous, now they've rebranded because it's not culturally correct, I think, in today's world. But for many years, the big meetings were happening in a room called now the word
say French.
is missing me, but it was for debate, la salle de confrontation. So confrontation room.
Yes.
So that is the opposite of relax. You know, you get into the confrontation room, and what it was a circle room where you had all the directors in front of you. I've been doing that, and then you come with your innovation to present it. And the job is to throw at you as many challenges, as many no's as possible to see how you stand and how you can perfect your idea to be even sharper. That's that quest of excellence. That can be seen as like very tough actually from a different culture perspective, but when you know that the critic is here to make you grow and to refine you, then you get it and you work harder. But yeah, so I wouldn't say the art of living is something that French people privilege, they look for because it's very important for them. But the way to get there is through excellence. And it's not a relaxed path.
Yeah. It's a lots of work, lots of layer behind it. So I really enjoy what you're describing, and then basically listen to you. Suddenly I understand that. So this is why there's a conflict happening between Chinese. I talk about employee or partner basis. I mean, there was a book I read last week. I think it's about cultural map, like a Rains Mailer. I can't remember the author. The example that she gave it, when we talk about Chinese and then French, the example she gave it to is that exactly a employee is a country manager taking charge of all the marketing, everything. And then so she has to quit because like there's one business trip. She went to the French headquarters, presents the ideas, and she feel humiliated.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
Humiliated by this questions and the confrontations, the argument through on the table. So, but like you say, this is part of your French culture. You create a round table room. That's all this ideas are coming from. So by questioning you, making you deeper thinking, and then we move towards the perfect situation. But for Chinese, easily we take it as a criticism. We take it criticism, we're taking, it's not trust as well. So we think about, okay, I'm the country manager, I came here to present. You're supposed to give me applause and walk away. Rather than you question me this, you question me that. But in this way, you guys all know in this, you're saying that's what's the room of confrontation?
Confrontation room. It's been rebranded because now they've understood. It's very interesting what you say. I think exactly for that reason. Rebranding a room name is not just about changing the name, it's changing the culture.
Okay, what the change?
I really don't know actually. It's a good question. I will ask next time. But they've removed the idea of confrontation because actually they've understood that going wide and opening to the world, it was something that was creating more harm probably than benefits.
Oh, well, for this part, like it doesn't fit the Chinese culture.
Exactly. So as the world is opening, like it's been opening, etc., you have to adapt. And it's not about changing who you are, but it's about making space and welcoming other people without trying to change them.
All right. Okay. So that's the thing. The idea need to be think about how to apply like for different culture. That's good.
I think it should. I mean, and hopefully there are people like
so
you
the
who are
country
helping
manager
the
should be
companies.
great. And then so she was crying basically in the book, saying that's like I can't work here anymore. I suddenly feel like my idea not being accepted. My authority has been questioning, like through this trip to go to headquarters. That was sad.
Which I fully understand. And now that I'm also feeling extremely British, like that's something I would struggle with. Like
give us the example being between French and British. What's the culture difference in business? that you can't,
so these equally would
Yeah.
not work for British people.
Confutation?
Yes.
Okay.
Because actually a conversation with British people always start in a very polite note.
Yeah.
You know, it's always very soft. Maybe.
Please.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
better. That was really good.
That's really interesting.
Interesting.
We know that one. Yeah, it's really interesting. But because it's a first thing, before you get into the tough topic, you start to understand, to try to show respect to the person, and try to understand their values and their experience, you know, and you try to build up relationship first before talking about the topic and the problem to solve, maybe.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a British way.
Yes, that's
But
a
what
British
French are going to say to French, or what they're going to say? They say, okay, this is not good. They directly say
French to French?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
yeah, French to French, how they
French say, oh, no, this doesn't work, or this is not good enough, or you can't do this, or, you know, this is not good for that reason, you know. That's the best way to get the feedback. This doesn't work because this is too weak on this topic. So at least to give you the tools to say, okay, let me come back to that, or to rework on that, or to expose why you think actually that person is wrong. You know, people in France, people give you, it's the art of debate.
Yeah.
It's actually showing you respect to debate with you because you're worth it.
All right, okay.
Because you can engage in a conversation. If I give you a challenging feedback, it's because I value you can take the challenge.
Yeah.
So it's actually a mark of respect.
Oh, wow.
Although it's seen completely and perceived and felt like, you know, I have children who are brought up in England. And my daughter was working for a French think tank, and they gave her that feedback. She was in tears. She said, like, Mama, I'm worth nothing. I said, no, actually, they valued you.
Yeah.
Because they push you to see what's inside you, how smart you can think about that.
Wow,
you know?
okay. So if you use Chinese kids, we're going to react this way. So you say you show your respect, that you're worth it to debate and want to get your idea.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Yes.
Chinese will shut up.
I know.
Shut down completely, saying that you're not worth it even talking to you.
Yes. And
with this attitude.
And I think there's no one wrong or right. I think it's about acknowledging, you know, when you speak to someone, you have to adapt your audience. Yeah. So
I like this.
You can't do what you would do with someone else. Now, the trick is that the more the world opens and the more you have third culture. So it's really difficult to gauge who you have in front of you. Like I always take my children as an example. They are fake French. Right? They speak French without an accent. They think British. You know, I'm a fake French too. I come across as French, but my years in England have completely shaped the way I take feedback. So last time I was practicing on court, I got harsh feedback and I reacted like a British person. And I said, like, wake up, Laure, this is actually valued feedback. Let's work on that and let's take it with gratefulness, because actually it's going to sharpen my game, you know. So yes, with that new opening, you have more and more people in the world who are not defined by one culture, actually.
Yeah. So the solution is you understand more culture, more different type of what the style they can take in, and adjust your tones according to different audience, different people you're talking with, right? It's like when you speak to children, you change your tone.
Yes.
When you speak to
100%.
college, you change your tone as well, right?
100%.
Yeah. I think so. I think that's the way to go. Even you're fake French or I'm fake Chinese. But I think I will call, we are more international.
Yes.
We're more open. Awareness, I would say that way.
Yes, awareness. I love that word. Is to be aware, so you can pick up some codes to, as you know, signals that you know you might consider things in a different way.
Yes,
it's openness also. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I have some followers, they say that they really can't take in the French boss criticism.
Yes.
So even I have a friend, a Chinese friend living in Paris, even the school teacher giving the school feedback. They said they start with something wrong with these kids first. It's very harsh for for outside culture to take it, especially Chinese culture take it. So the mom saying that, oh my gosh, my boy really not that good enough, and then we should really be a tiger mama pushing it. But actually it's not. It's about the way, right?
Yes. So I'm not excusing anything, because I think that French people have to open up to the world and to understand actually there are good things to take up from other culture in softness and being able to relate to others and convey their ideas in a different way. But the reason why, the explanation is the sense of care for the other and want for them to progress, always looking for perfection.
I see.
So
it's all
a French
linked
will
together.
always look for the gap between the reality and perfection and what's missing. So they will give you the picture of what's missing. I'll give you an example. At school, I was in a parents meeting, and I was getting really anxious from the feedback the school teacher was telling me about my daughter, saying, oh, this is lacking, this is lacking. Then I looked at the mark, and she had 19.5 out of 20.
Wow.
So the gap was 0.5, right?
Wow.
But the whole conversation was not on a 19.5, it was on a 0.5.
See.
So I really understand that this is really, that could be really creating anxiety and, you know, that sense of humility, of like your failure.
Yeah.
But actually,
move you to
it's important to understand that it's a way of viewing the gap between perfection and reality, and the reason why they spend time on that is they want you to get to that perfection. They believe you can get to that perfection. So in some way, but yes,
harsh.
It's a very
it
comes across as a very negative culture, you know, and quite harsh culture. I understand also this reason why I'm living in the UK. I find it much more
easier to take on the criticism, right?
I love in Britain the idea that the focus is on progress, and that actually what you look at is not the 19.5, but the fact that you went from 17 to 19.5, and you're going to talk about that 2.5 growth you've done and the reason and what you need to keep on doing. I love that approach. You know?
Yes, I love it too.
So, but it's different ways. There are reasons behind every way of being, and I think it's great the work you do to try to explain to people, so that they adapt. And also when they're on the other seats, getting the feedback, they understand why. Doesn't mean they accept, doesn't mean they want it. You don't have to receive criticism for criticism if you didn't, but you understand why they're saying that.
Yeah, they care about you. They want to go to that perfect.
And they don't necessarily think that you're a failure or you're bad. Actually, if they give time for feedback, they feel like you're worth it.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Do they say a positive thing ever? Do they say that, okay, you done brilliant job? Do they do that? Or they give it away that's with difficulty?
And on top of that, you've got, I think, 63 millions of French, so maybe 63 millions version of that way of giving feedback, right? So you have a different spectrum but I'd say from my
boss
own
point of view,
my own upbringing plus my years in France working in a French company, they're trying to.
Good way to take it.
They're working. They're progressing on that.
Good.
They're progressing on that. Yes.
This part I would say a little bit similar. There's a similarity for Chinese culture as well. So the giving feedback for Chinese boss. I mean, we learn that it start with a positive first. That's only because we start to learn. In the old time or the traditional government's sector, I believe the feedback is still from the area you should improve first. This area that's not good enough yet. They even don't have it yet. They say the area not good enough.
I was about to say something in France.
Yes, it's coming with learning.
Yes, exactly. Same thing.
So it's changing.
Yes.
Like we say, the beauty, like a Chinese, like a bright stone at the home, but it's changing the generation now. So now, because I left China about 10 years ago, now when I go back to China, not just now, you can see people still there's young people, they love their tones. They don't mind to be a athletic, like a big muscles and with the tone. They start to love it now.
Yes.
So the things is changing because we open the ideas now, right? Yeah.
I love that cross-fertilization between East and West, to be honest. I think what I see coming from the West, the East to the West, especially for French person like me, like coming from the thinking, the intellectual area of Descartes, is the wisdom of the intuition and of, the universe. And I see that more and more infusing. It's not there yet. There's a big step to be done. But yes, that's cross-fertilization between West and East that is starting.
It's a fusion, right?
Yes.
So it's everything melting together.
Exactly.
Yeah. But when you say that, but there's a different contract area I want to talk about is about the hierarchy. So like in corporate or society, I believe French are very high, like a high hierarchy system.
Yes, there still are.
That doesn't show that's a you in fusion with other cultures. Yes, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example, okay? So if Chinese friends will say, if I have a French boss, and then if she's not around, I have a meeting need to taking, but all the other office open area be taking. So I really need a quiet office to take this very important client's call. So I sneak into my French boss's office, and then I get told off heavily, basically saying that you do not get into my office. But if I used to have an American boss, I can just using the computer on the desk to log in my account, of course, right? Is that true? There's a part of a concept about you intruding my area or my authority.
I think it's true. It's my personal conviction. I think it's explained by the fact that French are all about personal, although it's seen as a collective country. Personal is very important. So the personal space, especially of a boss, is an intimate space, or is their personality, that's their space. In the UK or US company, it's more functional.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's a space. It's used, it's not used. In France, it's still like with your personality. Now, it comes across that every employee has a personality and is French, but the boss will have the privilege to be able to have his personal space or her personal space. And this is something that could be disturbing and an area to be worked on. I think more and more it's being worked on because companies are more open space, and you have lots of, you have the big boss, like the chairman of L'Oréal has an office, and I don't think anyone is working in this office apart from him and his team. But more and more it's open space based. Yeah. And you have a lot of like leaders and big president, vice presidents on floor like everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. But the two words you say this is I want to highlight here is really key words. So personal versus functional.
Yes. Yeah. That's the big difference.
That's it's more which side, like a French more. And not just a French, European, it's more personal space, where American for sure is a functional. Yeah. Chinese, I would say, you never get into your boss office without permission.
Yes.
It's a status.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not just personal, it's a status. It's a label, like a tag there. Yeah, that's so interesting, fascinating, right? Okay, so move on your L'Oréal, move on your philosophy part, innovation part. Now talk about your work, what you provide is for the society. What bring you to be a leadership coach?
That's interesting. So it's been a journey. When I left L'Oréal, I was coming from the Body Shop and the Anita Roddick heritage of doing business with a force for good, trying to have the least negative impact on the environment and the most positive impact on society, people, fair trade communities, being as progressive as possible for everyone. And I wanted to do that as a business because that's what was very much in my heart. So I worked and created my own consultancy, helping the CSR directors to do their strategy, to reduce the impact on the environment and increase their positive impact on society. The more I was doing that, and I'm still doing that, the more I felt there was a human topic and challenge around leadership.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way you lead that transformation it makes it a success or not, you know. And it was a really hard challenge because usually the CSR directors were alone among the big companies to influence that change, which requires time, investment, commitment, engagement. So you need to, I felt I needed to work with them and help them communicate, articulate, embark the teams. And actually, while we were doing the strategic work, the theory work, they asked me for some help. And I think what they liked was, you know, we compete. And they liked the competition mindset and the champion mindset I was bringing to them to get through that challenge. So that's what brought me into that leadership, like coaching leadership role.
All right. And how you can combination of the tennis performance like into, that's very unique. I think this is not many coaches and not any coaches that I know that's bring this combination together.
Look, for me, and you know me, stepping on the court for me is a lab life. I take my philosopher notes from the court, you know. Every time I come with an intention and I learn from myself about, you know, how did I get, like typical French, did I get to the target or not, you know? And I witnessed that, and, you know, it builds up days after days learnings, and, you know, while you're training, practicing the discipline of a champion, like how do you nurture your energy, you know? How do you mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that is useful actually when you lead change. Because you constantly need energy. If you want to change and lead change, you have to have that aura that drives, and that magnetic aura that brings people to do something different, because it's extremely hard. So what I've witnessed, actually it came from them. They saw it in me before I knew about it. And so I've developed it,
Oh, wow. So it's the clients helping you by seeing that you're doing this.
Yeah, every time I was doing workshop or mission, people came to me and said, like, can you help me, please? Okay.
Tell us about your competition. You're like you're the number one in the world.
No.
Tell me about that. I know, but still, for amateur level, you are really high
I compete on the ITF Master Tour, which is for women 40 plus. So within the 40 to 45 years old women in the world, I'm number 46.
In the world, right?
Yes,
that's so good. But it's a privilege I can train with you together.
It's only a passage point, you know. I'm French still at heart, so
French is being perfect, is that everything is not good enough. Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all about this our conversation, and then I feel really insightful, very useful for you to give us the idea about the French part being perfect. The outside is like a 松弛感, it's relaxation, but underneath there's a lot of structures and philosophies and then organizations and building up that way. And so that's what we say, that for Chinese parts, we don't just think like a French have the 松弛感 rather than being a discipline or not perfect, not trying to perfect. And then when the French boss is giving the criticism, it means that he or she care about you.
Yes, I hope that comes across. And I hope we French progress way more from learning from other culture, that actually we can bring the same intention with different tools that comes up softer and more respectful to others. Because
like what we say, that everybody's open the difference.
Yes,
right?
That's a beautiful way to conclude. I love that.
Thank you so much today.
Thank you, Jojo. Thank you.